Have you seen all the AI gurus out there who are talking about the 1,000 different ways that AI is going to change your business? It's going to change the world. It's going to supercharge everything, make you tons of money. Yeah, I fell for that trap too. And the thing is, AI can help you, but if you do it wrong, then you're totally going to ruin your business. You're going to make way less money, and you're going to spend hours doing things that aren't productive, things that don't actually make your business any better. And if you want to avoid those, I have 3 tips for you today. 3 things that if I had known, I probably would have saved a lot of money and a lot of time. So go ahead and subscribe, follow for more, and let's get into it. When I got started on this AI journey, I was super excited about leveraging AI to make content. Content by far was the most stressful and the most time-consuming part of my business. Everything else was pretty simple, streamlined, and easy. And so what I found is that people out there were having posts on Instagram or posts on whatever social media platform of like, type into ChatGPT 50 different ideas, and then it gives you these 50 different ideas. You put it into Canva, it makes this post, and then bam, you got all your posts for 50 days. It's great, it's awesome. But the problem is everybody started doing that. And so what happened is all the social media got flooded with AI slop, or with this yucky stuff that we don't even want to consume. We don't even want to spend our time on it. And I got stuck in this trap. In fact, what I did is I went into ChatGPT or Claude or any of those people. Did I just say people? That's funny. I meant to say large language models because that's what they are, but kind of feels like people. Sometimes Claude feels like my friend nowadays. Anyways, I go in there and I start to give my ideas. And what do I expect? I expect this amazing script. I expect this amazing piece of content that I can just read word for word. It's going to persuade everybody. And then what do I get? I get junk. I get something that is not very good. But it's okay because I go through, I edit, I prompt, it gives me junk again. I edit, I junk. Edit, junk, edit, junk. The entire time, I'm spending like 30, 40 minutes, I kid you not, on editing and prompting and editing and prompting. And I realized that I'm trying to turn mud into diamonds, thinking that somehow if I spend all this time in the mud, it's going to get me my ultimate goal, which is really good content. And so I scrapped AI entirely and I went in the opposite direction. Maybe you've done this where you tried AI and you realize, oh, this isn't helpful. And then you just do everything manually again. But then the AI gurus keep coming on our feed. They keep telling us about how in 2026, your business will tank. 2050, if you don't know how to do AI, then you're completely hosed. Nobody's going to buy from you. You're going to lose out on this amazing boom of billionaires that are created and generating this wealth through AI. And so we get back on the AI bandwagon. We try to do the same thing and it keeps failing. And this cycle here that I'm talking about is the AI Slop Cycle. And this cycle here is what I call playing in the mud. We go in the mud, we get dirty, we don't like it, we get out, we clean up, and then we get back in the mud and we just keep repeating. And so instead what we need to do is we need to document what is the process that we're doing manually? Like, what does an actual good script look like? What does a stellar Instagram post look like? What does an amazing fill in the blank look like? And then what you want to do is you want to outline all of the steps for it. This is the crucial part, not only for using AI, but for being a business owner in general. Because when we have a step-by-step process of how to do something, that means we can delegate it to someone else, even if AI is not able to do that task. I can now take this list, this checklist of you need to do A, B, C, D, E, and that's how you get a really good script. I can give it to someone, to an intern, to someone who I'm hiring on Fiverr. I can give it to a friend, someone who's good at writing, and they're able to then follow my formula. Without formulas, we'll forever be in the slow lane. We want to get to the fast lane by using formulas. And so doing this formula writing process, I was able to design a couple of different key elements for a really good script. And nowadays, I don't go in and just type, write me a script about blah, blah, blah. Instead, I have a formula, a prompt that I can put in there and say, I want to follow this specific structure because I know it works. And then these are key elements. And then it just kind of goes from there. And we were able to get a good, raw, rough draft that I just make slight tweaks to. And boom, we get a much better video. So document what you're doing currently, then automate. The second thing to avoid is that we don't want to buy until we try. Now this sounds kind of intuitive, but for some reason I fell into this trap a ton. And maybe you're just awesome and smart and you don't have that problem. But what happened is that I would get excited about a tool and I would buy it, the year package because it would decrease how much I'm paying per month. And I like to have a good deal, so I'd buy it for a year. The problem is that I would go through and I would get things like Epidemic Sound, which is able to put music into your YouTube videos. And thank goodness, because that was able to save a ton of time. Before, I used to use a lot of audio, used to love music and putting that in my videos, and I would spend almost an hour every single video just trying to find a dang song. But then I realized that actually not having any music in my video is totally fine. And so why did I spend $300 or $200 on Epidemic Sound when I'm not going to use it anymore? So this is what I'm talking about, is that you want to rent. You want to go and try using the monthly payment plans to just try using the tool. Usually it's $20, $40, right? Nothing that's going to break your bank. And you can try for 1 or 2 months and actually see, is this going to make a difference in my business? An example of something that did work is that I started to get Claude Pro. Claude is an amazing, amazing, amazing tool. I use it all the time for my research, my thinking, analyzing. And so I highly recommend going to Claude and getting their Pro plan. However, for me, what made the most sense is that I was able to rent Claude to try out, to see how they were thinking, how they were talking. And once I realized I could do coding with it and build my own AI automations, boom, I was sold. And so now I'm using Claude to be able to build automations for my clients. I'm able to use it to build tools. I'm able to use it for strategy and thinking. I'm getting all these benefits from just one $20 a month plan. And I might even consider going up to the $100 a month plan because it is so useful. But that wouldn't have happened if I didn't try Gemini, ChatGPT, Grok, and Claude all at the same time. So try before you buy, and that's going to make a huge difference before you sell your soul to something that your business doesn't really need. The third thing, which is that we want to decide what is the worst step. What is the step that I just don't like? For example, when I started into content creation, I still remember that my wife was really into gardening. She did her master's in plant genetics. And so we started this little Instagram that was about her and gardening and teaching people how to take care of plants, but kind of like a science version. And so I remember going through and filming and editing, writing captions and doing all these things for her videos. And it was a pain. It was probably my least favorite part. I loved the script writing. I loved actually doing the filming. I loved seeing the results and researching the data afterwards, but editing it was the worst part. And so instead, when I started my YouTube channel, I used to try to edit everything by myself. And I realized I just need to hire this part out to someone else. And so my great editor, Afnan, shout out to Afnan. Hey, buddy. He is amazing. He's able to take off so much time from my plate, and I gladly pay him money because it is worth the investment. And so you can do the same thing with AI. So you want to find that worst part and you want to use AI to take that off your plate. So you have more creative energy so you can help serve your clients, you can serve your customers, and really make the impact that you care about. Before I give you a bonus tip, I want to just recap. First, we want to make sure that we document before we automate. We need to know every single step that we do so we can tell AI, this is how I'm doing it. I want you to do it the same. The second is we need to make sure to try before we buy, because otherwise we can put a lot of money on the table for a tool that maybe doesn't help us or it becomes obsolete in just a couple of months. It's better to try and get really comfortable with something for a couple of months before actually making that long-term investment. The third thing is to decide which of those steps do we just not like. Like which one just makes us dread doing that part. And then try to find an AI tool that's gonna fit that square peg in that round hole somehow magically, which is that you don't have to do it anymore. That analogy probably doesn't make sense, but whatever. The last bonus tip is that if you want to be able to use AI more effectively, you need to get with a community. You need to get with people who are trying to use AI in their business, specifically health entrepreneurs, specifically people who are in health and wellness, clinicians, doctors, physicians, dentists, personal trainers, anybody who is trying to help people over 50 age well. That is my community. So if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. And I want you to look in the links down below. There's going to be some good information coming out about how can you connect with other people who are using AI for amazing health businesses in 2026. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.